and 93.1 FM, Fargo-Moorhead.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. 104 right now, 24 degrees outside Fargo, mostly cloudy, and well, we have more sunshine in the forecast. We'll touch on that coming up throughout the show, and as well, finally, near average temperatures are finally returning. I am meteorologist Justin Storm here with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and as well Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And guys, are you ready for some nice weather to be heading our way? We had a nice weekend, and we're going to get some warmer temperatures on top of that to come into the area.
I'm ready.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, absolutely. This will be great. Now, will warmer temperatures mean, though, that we're going to have more travel condition issues? Are you guys going to let us know what that looks like over the next hour?
It looks quiet. Very, very quiet weather week, not only for here, but across much of the country. So this is no big storms on Thanksgiving week. Wow.
That don't happen too often.
No, not at all. So if you are doing any traveling, it's looking pretty good. It doesn't mean there won't be scattered slippery spots. What I'm worried about is the melting and then the refreeze in the mornings. Could see some scattered slippery spots. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. Not so much today or tomorrow, but towards the end of the week when we start getting that freeze-thaw cycle, that's when things will start to get a little bit on the slippery side in some areas in the morning hours. So,
well, just so you guys know, next week is the North Dakota Ag Association Northern Ag Expo. Historically, it always storms during that trade show. So I'm going to have you keep a close eye on that for me next week.
Should we tell her what the models are suggesting for next week, Justin?
Don't say it's on the 29th of Tuesday, is it?
Yep.
Oh, what are you saying?
Well, let's just say that trend might continue.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that a lot this hour, I bet. Okay, got it, guys. Thanks.
Also coming up on the show today, we'll have our guest, Alec Winmill. We're going to be talking about raising chickens in your backyard. Can't wait to find out what it's going to take for Dean to get a chicken coop in his backyard, and maybe we can go help fund him to get him some chickens back there. Also, we'll touch on the forecast and what we're expecting for this week to kind of sum it up. It looks like some nice weather, average temperatures, or about average, so it will be a very nice coming up here. And as well, our ag topics that we're going to try to get to today. We're going to talk about how that Black Sea grain deal has been extended throughout Ukraine and Russia, consumer trends for the grocery stores, and as well, the Ukraine dairies running on generators due to bomb strikes, and a couple of other things. And we'd love for you to join in on our conversation or ask some questions. Give us a phone call, 701-293-9000. You can reach us there and ask those questions, or as I mentioned, just join the conversation. Let us know what you think. Or you can always reach us via email at weatherorag@flagfamily.com during or after any show. And also remember to find us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and as well as Acres TV. Just search Weather and Ag in Focus. And Weather and Ag in Focus will be right back after we get some update from ABC News.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. The World Cup, biggest event in soccer, underway in Doha. The U.S. men's team in the Cup for the first time since 2014.
It's Team USA's turn playing Wales. U.S. men's soccer star Christian Pulisic, a 24-year-old from Hershey, Pennsylvania.
We're here to compete and we're here to win. My number one dream was to play for Team USA in a World Cup. It's all in front of us. I mean, I still just can't wait for that feeling.
President Biden calling them for a pep talk.
Coach, put me in. I'm ready to play.
Qatar has a lot riding on the Cup. The socially conservative country with a history of human rights abuses, spending $200 billion on infrastructure.
ABC's Derek Dennis. From Indonesia, word of a magnitude 5.6 earthquake shaking the main island of Java. Authorities report at least 46 people killed and around 700 injured. In this country, a 22-year-old man is in custody in the wake of the mass shooting at an LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado Springs. 5 killed, 25 wounded and injured. The shooter using a semi-automatic rifle. He was no stranger to law enforcement.
Just last year, Anderson Lee Aldrich was arrested near Colorado Springs for allegedly threatening to harm his mother with a bomb and weapons. A tactical team was called. Neighbors were evacuated. While no explosives were found, Aldrich was charged with kidnapping and menacing. The prior arrest raises a question of how someone charged with felonies and accused of being a threat was able to arm himself and allegedly carry out a mass shooting.
ABC's Aaron Katursky. Colorado Springs Police Chief Adrian Vasquez says there were some heroic actions by people inside Club Q.
Two of the patrons that were inside the club were able to grab him and take him to the ground and subdue him.
In a court filing late Saturday night, bankrupt cryptocurrency outfit FTX divulged it owes creditors $3.1 billion. No creditors listed in the filing. You're listening to ABC News.
Attention all business owners who rent or lease space, including storage space. Stop wasting your money paying someone else for your space. You can now save a ton of money and own your own building with the incredible Black Friday sale prices from General Steel. That's right, start saving money every month on renting space from others. Just call 888-74-STEEL to see how General Steel can help you save money. Our 50-year structural warranty buildings are custom designed for your needs and save you a ton of money. Call 888-74-STEEL.
Take it from a successful entrepreneur. If you need to expand or start a new business, you need General Steel.
Great team and the competitive pricing is the reason I went with General Steel.
Call 888-74-STEEL now, and you can get any of our popular quick construction structures, including a 40 by 60 foot building or a 50 by 100 clear span building at Black Friday savings. Call 888-74-STEEL. That's 888-747-8335. 888-74-STEEL.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or have pain or numbness in your feet, call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7505. Again, 701-929-7505. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. It can lead to balance problems, complete loss of independence, and in some cases, amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start to feel relief from their symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone and call now at 701-929-7505 or find out if you're a candidate for our neuropathy program that has changed thousands of lives. Call us today at 701-929-7505.
It's Jay and Ronnie from the Coffee Club, and we enjoy drinking coffee because it keeps us energized and focused.
Well, let's be frank. I enjoy drinking coffee because coffee keeps me wide-eyed in the morning, but I'll tell you this type of coffee is organic, specialty-grade coffee, beans selected from the top 2% available, 100% Arabica bean coffee, certified organic, non-GMO, low acidity, rich, smooth, and ready to drink.
The finish is clean and it has a pleasant aftertaste. It's delicious. It's so far the best coffee that we've had. It's also roasted and packed in the US of A. We love it and we guarantee you will too. All you need to do is go to mystore.com, click on My Coffee, and enter the promo code WDAY.
That's promo code WDAY to get your own My Coffee.
It's also roasted and packed in the US of A. We love it and we guarantee you will too. Go to mystore.com, promo code WDAY.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. We want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon on this cloudy Monday. There was even a few light flurries earlier throughout the area, but nothing that's really going to accumulate today. But the Northern Valley could get a little dusting overnight tonight as a little clipper system rides through the area and then dives southward. So areas up around Grand Forks up to the international border could see a light dusting, maybe up to a half inch. But other than that, it's a pretty quiet week. Temperatures should remain in right around the 30-degree range for tomorrow and also for Wednesday, maybe a little warmer Wednesday. And then Thursday, we cool down just a touch. And then as we head into the end of the week, we're getting some indications. I mean, I know the snowpack is going to play a lot in terms of temperatures, but some of our models are predicting 40s for Friday. That'd be a nice way to end the week for anybody traveling back from Thanksgiving travel. But a pretty quiet week, no big storms on the horizon until maybe next week. Bridgette, sorry to say that. But again, that's a ways off. That's a week away. A lot of things can change. That thing might dive south of us. We'll have to wait and see. But all in all, a quiet Thanksgiving week with temperatures returning to at or just a little bit above normal for this time of the year, as Justin was saying earlier.
Now, it is really something that's very accurate. When we have the Northern Ag Expo, frequently we have storms during that 2-day event at the Fargo Dome. So I'm not going to be surprised if you tell me we're going to get some.
And when was it last year?
It's always held the week after Thanksgiving. So we kind of plan for it. It's very rarely we have nice weather.
I don't think we had anything last year, did we?
It might have been the rare occasion that we did not.
I will check our climate stats, but I want to say, Justin, do you remember? Or?
I want to say we had something come through right around last Thanksgiving. Like the Expo, the week after Thanksgiving. It always seems like Thanksgiving time frame we get at least one storm to roll through. And I want to say we did. I just can't quite remember.
I'm going to look it up real quick.
The reason it really matters is because the three of us are on the agenda for the Northern Ag Expo next week, Tuesday. We are going to be on the, I can't remember if they're putting us on the main stage or if we'll simply be in one of the conference rooms, and that is at about 9 or 9:30 next Tuesday morning. Check their website for an accurate agenda. Also, if you are a certified crop advisor and you need continuing education units, you can get 1.5 credits by attending our 90-minute discussion. So we'll be talking, I am sure, lots about the LRC and how that affects our business in the ag industry. And again, that's next Tuesday. That'll be November 29th at the Fargo Dome for the Northern Ag Expo put on by the North Dakota Ag Association.
Should be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully that storm doesn't mess with the old commute down from Grand Forks, or I'll be taking the snowmobile down instead.
Looking forward to seeing you arrive on that.
Bridgette, why don't we hit on a quick topic here before we get our guest all squared away, and what's going on with the Black Sea grain deal extension?
Well, we know that Putin agreed to he agreed to an agreement, right? He did that here this summer, and it was set to expire in November, but that has been extended for another 120 days. So grain is actually moving out of Ukraine. There's still some discussion. Sometimes Russia gets their fingers on the money and tries to keep that, but overall they have actually had some go forward movement with grain moving out of that country. That's vital to several countries within the African continent who need that grain. They want to make sure that they're getting as much as possible. I am starting to see some indications that even though grain is moving, there's still about 50% of their 2022 corn crop standing in the field in the Ukraine. They haven't been able to harvest everything yet. The grain that's currently moving is still last year's crop, 2021. I hope it was stored in good places so that it hasn't fallen out of condition or quality, so that the grain that's arriving for other people is in palatable condition so that they can continue to use it for food grade. We're going to see what all that looks like, but so far Putin is agreeing that he is letting the grain shipments go out, even though he believes that Russia is getting the short end of the deal by not being able to move some of their natural gas anhydrous ammonia, etc. So this is always tentative. The UN has been involved to keep it moving. We'll see if that's able to continue. But that's where we stand today with what's going on between Russia and the Ukraine.
Yeah, me and Dean were kind of mentioning that on Friday, that they were going to be thinking about an extension with that. And we were like, well, yeah, they'll probably end up extending it, but for how long are they going to allow it to continue? So it'll just be a kind of touch and go kind of thing over the next, you said it was 100 or 120 days?
120 days. And you're right, it's been touch and go all along. They have allowed it, then they've retracted, they've allowed it, etc. So we're going to see how that pans out for the rest of this year through that extension and into next spring. But I can tell that we're getting ready to bring our guest on the line. That will be Alec Windmill, and Al is raising backyard chickens. And we could say he's an expert, but I think he kind of fell into this flock in a very different way from the rest of us. So I'm looking forward to Al talking about it, what it's like to raise kids and chickens, and how that might go hand in hand. So we'll catch up with Al Windmill right after these messages.
Attention North Dakota veterans. Did you know there is free transportation provided to veterans for medical appointments? This service is at no cost to you and available in several highly rural counties throughout the state. Contact your county veteran service officer for further information. North Dakota Veterans Affairs, proudly serving veterans from around the state with additional resources.
This message is sponsored by the Department of Veteran Affairs and aired in cooperation by the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, Chris Berg here. Radio personalities like myself, we spend a ton of time and energy during the day, obviously in front of the computer. We're looking for news stories for you, talking to callers. So when the day is finally over, I get to go home and crawl into my Comfort King excited because I know I'm going to get a great night's sleep. At Comfort King Mattress Factory, they build a mattress just for you. That's what they do. Comfort King has the only lifetime comfort guarantee. So buy local and shop Comfort King Mattress Factory.
Your new one-stop shop for the latest in news, weather, sports, and community happenings is WDAYRadioNow.com. Stay up to date online, on your phone, on the go. Interviews with newsmakers, all your favorite local shows on demand for those days when you don't want to miss anything. Get your forecasts so you're always in the know when it comes to the weather, and find information on our shows and personalities. If it's happening now, it's happening on WDAYRadioNow.com. That's WDAYRadioNow.com.
If you love helping adults with developmental disabilities and want to work in a culture with benefits nobody else can match, apply today at Red River Human Services. Enjoy a $17 per hour starting wage, health insurance benefits at 30 hours per week, quarterly wage adjustments, hourly increases after 90 days, and a possible $750 signing bonus. Apply now for this amazing position at rrhsf.org or call 701-235-0971 and see how great it is to work at Red River Human Services.
It's about tradition, values, and family ties. Bucklet Chevrolet's tradition of giving back to our community remains a priority. And that's why, to honor our veterans and active military personnel, we're offering an oil change special for just $40 in November. This $40 oil change special is our way of showing thanks for their service, dedication, and commitment. We're Bucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City. Tradition, values, and family ties.
See dealer for details. Schedule appointment by 11/30/22.
We're with Bethany Rents from Irie Insurance. Nobody can beat Bethany's all-star service, and she has been a crop adjuster as well. How has having been a crop adjuster for 10 years allow you to better serve your client?
Knowing the challenges that you as farmers face every day in the field and within your farm operation gives me the opportunity to better serve you as your agent.
Makes sense, and nobody can beat Bethany's all-star service. Find out for yourself. Here's her cell phone number, 701-740-2983. Call Bethany Rents Irie Insurance today. You're going to love the service. Irie Insurance is an equal opportunity provider.
And welcome back to WDAY, Weather and Ag in Focus. So glad that you are joining us. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and our Meteorologist Extraordinaire, Justin Storm. Folks, we have a great opportunity today to visit with our guest. His name is Alec Windmill, and Al is very active in the ag industry, but in a different way than you might expect. I mean, he's a professional, but he's also raising a backyard flock of chickens, and we talk all the time on this show about some of our favorite things. This might just be one of them. So, Al, hello, welcome. Feel free to introduce yourself to our crowd.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like Bridgette said, I'm in the ag community. I work for Ag Week here in town, and I work with advertisers. Very lucky to do that and stay connected to agriculture on a larger scale than what's going on in our backyard. Bridgette and I have known each other for a few years now and stayed in contact via social media and events in the area, especially Agronomy on Ice coming up in a few months. So I was pumped when she asked me if we could talk about backyard chickens today.
Okay, so some of our guests say, this started out where, for instance, with goats. I bought one goat to keep my wife happy. Now we have 350. How'd you get to the chickens, Al? Would you just needed a dozen eggs?
I'm going to tell you right now, the moral of the story is if you want cheap eggs, don't do it this way. This is not the way for cheap. I don't know. I was keeping track for a while. I know at one point it was like $300 a dozen, something like that. We're down there a ways now, but yeah. I've always kind of had like a hippie mentality, like, I'm a big recycler, and I don't know. I think I just confuse people. They're like, you're this guy with a big beard and you hunt and fish and whatever, what's going on. But I think a little bit of the hippie, like raise your own food type of stuff. I love animals. You know, people that hunt and fish tend to do that. I think the big reason why I went all in on chickens was because our two little kids, who are now 6 and 4, they have 3 dogs whose ages combined to make 40 years. So we have 2 13-year-old dogs and a 14-year-old dog. So we have some hard lessons coming for our kids, and I thought maybe the chickens wouldn't last quite as long. You know, like maybe you'll have one of those hard lessons with a little feathery friend who, you know, wasn't there when you were born and all that stuff. So that didn't work. In the best way, we still have our whole flock. Nothing has gone wrong there. But originally I thought, you know, we're going to lose a chicken. We have no idea what we're doing. We picked them out the day that they hatched in 2 different batches. And they're just little survivors. I don't know. We've had a couple close calls. No real illness to speak of. But we have had a fox in our yard in Horace, just outside of Fargo. And my wife got up one morning and heard the chickens squawking like crazy. There was a hawk perched on the coop, looking down into the run, trying to figure out how to attack. So everything wants to eat chicken, we've learned. But the hard lessons haven't shown up, which is good. I'm not going to complain, but I have a feeling the chickens are going to definitely outlast the dogs. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. There's so many. I saw all 3 of us writing down a pile of questions. We have so many things we want to ask. Okay. Where'd you get the chickens? Because you sent them out the day they hatched. I'm going to guess this wasn't just over at TSC or Runnings, right?
Correct. Woodbury Hatchery in Wyndmere, about 40 minutes from our house. They're row crop farmers. They have cattle, and when you pull up to their house, you'll see a whole bunch of chickens running around. The family is incredible. We've talked a lot. They've answered a lot of questions along the way. You know, you said I kind of fell into this and became an expert, and a lot of it's just research, talking to smart people who've been there, learning tips. And Woodbury Hatchery was definitely a big asset, and it just feels good to buy from birds that you can, or buy birds from people who have the birds running around their farmyard and living great lives. They've grown. I mean, they started out pretty small. Now they have large incubators, which when we showed up, we had no idea what we were getting into. We just knew we were going to bring some chickens home. But they pull out these trays, and there's various stages of egg, chicks running around and squeaking, and everything in between. So they're like pecking their way out and all this stuff. It was very cool. The kids were in heaven. And so we went there trying to get 6 chicks. We're like, we don't need to go big, whatever. Well, we came home with 8. They say chicken math is a thing where I think horse people fall into the same thing where, you know, just one more, whatever. The reason we went from 6 to 8 is they had 4 breeds that they focus on specifically, so you can tell if it's a male or female from the minute it hatches. And we didn't want a rooster in town. I would love it, but I don't think our neighbors would be so excited about the wake-up call. And we found out that hens are loud enough on their own. But yeah, so they said they had 4 kinds to choose from, and the kids had me wrapped around their fingers. So we came home with 8. We went back to Woodbury this past May and picked up 4 more. 1 for each of my kids, and then 2 for our neighbor. Our neighbor's daughter is 13, and she spent all last winter taking care of the chicks when we go ice fishing or Christmas with the in-laws or whatever we were doing. She was always over. We wanted to reward her with, you know, a little bit of ownership in our little flock too. So she has 2 of them as well.
And Al,
yeah, go ahead.
I've got a question. So is there any difference? Because, I mean, a lot of people haven't had the experience of enjoying fresh eggs from the farm. You know, it's always store-bought. So is there any difference between store-bought eggs and the fresh eggs you can get off the farm?
Scientifically speaking, I don't think there's a ton. Look and feel and the placebo effect probably are a lot. Our eggs are definitely, like the yolks is probably where you'll notice it the most. They're very rich, orange in color more than yellow. And that actually is heightened in the summer when we get a chance to let them out, chase bugs and eat grass and weeds and all that stuff. Which, again, I'm not a scientist or anything, but can't be a bad thing to have a richer color in your eggs. They're all different shapes and sizes, which is kind of fun. You know, we have one that lays almost, I don't know, spherical eggs, and another one is like both ends are pointy. It's skinny throughout. My wife knows, I think, half of, you know, which egg comes from which bird, but it's kind of fun to have a little bit of variation and that kind of thing.
And is there any special reason, and maybe this isn't, maybe this is just falsehood, that fresh eggs do not have to be refrigerated like you get them in the store? Is that true?
That is true, as long as you don't wash them.
Why is that?
Which sounds like counterintuitive. The eggs have what's called a bloom on them. It's like a film that you can't see or feel or detect. And as soon as you wash an egg, like we do for production eggs that they sell at the store, which is a rule in the U.S. and I think Canada, you have to refrigerate them because that bloom protects the eggs. It keeps air from getting in and spoiling anything.
And I've got one.
So,
more.
like,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, before we had chickens, my wife and I were in Mexico and we went to a gas station across the street from our hotel or something, and saw eggs on the shelf at the gas station, and I was like, don't those need to be in the refrigerator? What's going on here? But again, other countries have different standards where they don't wash them. I think a lot of countries in Europe are, you know, as long as they're not really dirty, mud or chicken poop or whatever might get on them. We keep them on the shelf and they're good for 3 weeks if they last that long.
And I've got one more quick question before we go to break. And so on the fresh chicken eggs, making scrambled eggs, some of the shell casing will get in when you're making the eggs. In the store-bought ones, you have to fish the shell out. For what reason, when you cook with the fresh eggs, when you go, the shell casing will sit in the bottom of the bowl? Is it a heavier density, which keeps it in the bowl when you're making scrambled eggs like that?
I always pick them out, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
I guess I haven't noticed that before. That's super interesting.
It's happened to me twice, and I thought, oh man, this is gonna be a pain to pick out. And when I went to put it in the pan, it's like, oh well, they're still in the bottom of the bowl. And I had a friend tell me the same thing. Yeah, they weren't sure why, but fresh eggs, the shell always stays in the bowl, where store-bought ones you got to fish out.
Well, now I'm going to stop wasting my time picking it up.
Right.
I'm going to hang out on
Now we're all going to have to try to find that answer, but we will return with Al Windmill as we talk about backyard chicken production. After this, we'll keep asking questions of Al, and you're welcome to send them to us as well at 701-293-9000. Be right back.
Did you know that periodontal disease is the #1 health problem in small animal patients? Hello, I'm Dr. Calderwood, a veterinary dental practitioner at Prairie Winds Veterinary Center. By 2 years of age, 80% of dogs and 70% of cats have some form of periodontal disease. If you notice a change in your pet's playful habits, breath, or facial swelling, there's a chance that your pet is suffering from mouth pain. Prairie Winds Veterinary Center can help. Call us at 701-356-5600 or learn more at prairiewindsvet.com.
When love is shared, great things happen. After 15 years of the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru and the retailers have donated over $250 million to charity. Get a new Subaru now through January 3rd, and $250 will be donated to charity. You get a new all-wheel drive Subaru while helping your fellow man. Stop in today. Muscatel Subaru, just off exit 1 in Moorhead. See Subaru.com for details.
It's the first unlimited full-service and exterior works wash club at Don's Car Washes. You can have the best of both worlds with unlimited interior and exterior washes at the Don's on 13th Avenue and unlimited exterior washes at the Don's on 52nd Avenue. Truly unlimited washes for only $49.99 per month. Join Don's Unlimited Wash Club. Exterior unlimited washes starting as low as $19.99 per month. It's never been easier to put a smile on your car at Don's Car Washes.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or have pain or numbness in your feet, call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7505. Again, 701-929-7505. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. It can lead to balance problems, complete loss of independence, and in some cases, amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start to feel relief from their symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone and call now at 701-929-7505 or find out if you're a candidate for our neuropathy program that has changed thousands of lives. Call us today at 701-929-7505.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Sunday at 6 a.m. Planning for your financial future can be stressful. It involves investments, taxes, insurance, and estate planning. At Creative Planning, we have an entire team working for you, including wealth managers, CPAs, and attorneys, all in one place, all working together. Let Creative Planning show you a richer way to wealth. Visit creativeplanning.com. That's creativeplanning.com.
Terry, so talk about doing business with DJ Coulter and American Family Insurance.
DJ is one of those insurance agents that's always going to be there for you. And he's always got great advice for a young family starting out, for an old family. We've got all our cars through DJ, our RVs and our boats. We took out a couple cash value life insurance policies, wanted to do long-term after we retire. DJ helped us through the steps on that.
DJ Coulter, American Family Insurance, 235-6641, djcoulter.com.
When it's time to build outside the box, build with Thor.
Stan, my mother's coming to stay with us indefinitely.
I need a space for the boys. Where can we watch the big screen, play cards, eat wings, drink, and work?
Stan, there's no room in the garage for my garden tools.
Need more space, whether it's a granny flat, a man cave, a decked out shop condo, or a she shed, or a horse barn. They've gotten creative when it comes to thinking outside the box. Thor Buildings at thorbuildings.com.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and our one and only amazing, very talented Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And our guest today, Alec Windmill. We're talking all about backyard chickens. And if you'd like to join in on our conversation, ask a question for either us or Alec, give us a phone call, 701-293-9000. Again, that phone number is 701-293-9000. Now, Alec, I was wondering, because some cities don't allow chickens and others do. Are there any ordinances in the place of Horace where it kind of throws in like a wrench, or you can only have so many chickens, or you have to be, so many miles from the center of town, or anything like that?
There are a few. The metro area actually is kind of interesting in how some cities let you have chickens and some don't altogether. West Fargo and Moorhead, you can't have chickens. As the last I knew of. I'm not a scientist. I'm also not a lawyer, but it's just kind of surprising that there's areas in the metro that don't allow chickens. But luckily, Horace and Fargo, it is okay. Some of it's by neighborhood, some of it's by city. I know we have to be a certain distance away from our neighbors, which luckily our lot and the way our house is and where we put the coop and run is perfectly okay there. There's a limit on how many chickens you can have, as well as other livestock in Horace. I don't remember the number, but I know it's a lot more than the 12 that we have, and I don't think we're going to have more than that. So luckily we're safe there.
So you're not
That's the plan
getting a
now.
horse to go with. Yeah, you're not getting a horse to go with the chickens at the same time.
So our neighbors at the end of our road own the pasture behind our house, and they have told me multiple times. Luckily, they haven't told my wife or children that they have room in their arena with some stables for more horses. So we're going to keep that secret to us, because I can see that happening if that information gets to the wrong parties.
Well, what would you say is the hardest thing about raising chickens?
That's a wonderful question, because I always tell people how easy they are. I mentioned a couple times, we're on the road a lot, we're doing things. The only pet I can think of easier than the chickens is a cat. Somebody comes in and checks on them, and as long as they have food and water and a litter box, cat's fine. Similar with the chickens, we have heated waters that I like to have neighbors come and check just to make sure the water hasn't frozen up in the winter. Food is usually fine for any of the trips that we take, but the really nice thing, it's not very hard to find somebody to come check on the chickens, because they get to leave with eggs. So it's like a little reward system. And we have so many friends with kids. Kids come over and help all the time with chores, and they like to check on them when we're gone. But it's amazing how you can have kids who will never do chores, never help around their house. They'll come to our house and fight over who gets to scoop chicken poop. It doesn't make a bit of it doesn't make sense, but like something about the backyard chickens, man, they bring out the best in kids, really.
Right. Is there any difference between, I'm sure there is, between summer and winter prep for the chickens? Do you do anything special in the summer, like put netting out, or you got like a big cage, just let them free roam to kind of keep them away from predators? And then how does that change when it comes to the winter? What do you have to do to make sure that you increase their survival chance?
So we have a 10 by 12 shed that I converted into a coop. About a third of that is storage for their food and extra bedding and supplies. The rest of it is theirs. There's an automatic door between them and an outside run, which is a couple sections of chain link dog kennel that they go out in. And they love it. They love outside time. We let them out in the yard if we're out with them. But after the hawk and fox and neighborhood dogs that might get out or whatever, everything wants to eat a chicken. So we try to be out there with them. They also get real wandery when they start going to like a neighbor who's trying to get grass growing on their new yard and eat all that beautiful little tender grass. That's not so good. Playing in the road in front of our house, also not so good. So summer's very fun. They love to eat bugs so much. They're little dinosaurs. Like people don't understand how much of an omnivore chickens really are, but they sometimes would prefer meat, it seems like. In the winter, the biggest thing, all you have to do is keep them dry and draft free. And we definitely have that taken care of. We don't use artificial heat source, which some people blows their mind. They can't believe that we do that, but they're super cold hardy. The breeds that we have are meant to be, in the conditions that we have. And as long as they don't have a breeze coming in, that chain link run that we have, I spent a couple nights last week covering that with reinforced, string inside of the poly sheeting material. I didn't know it existed until somebody told me I should try that because it'll hold up against the wind better. But that kind of gives it a greenhouse effect, so it's way warmer in there. They go outside and use that extended run area all winter long.
And we're thinking about getting Dean some chickens in his backyard. I don't know how many he can get, but we're thinking about putting up a GoFundMe account for Dean to get some chickens back there. What's it going to look like for somebody who wants to just start off getting a couple of chickens and see how it goes, if they like it or they don't? Is it kind of a hefty investment, or is it not too bad?
It really depends on what you already have. We started with a smaller coop that was fine. They were probably at the limit of the size that we had. That coop was nice because it was on wheels. It had a run attached to it, and if I was feeling particularly strong, I could lift it up and move it on those wheels, but is made to move with like a 4-wheeler with a winch on the front. That was, I think we bought that for around $350, which is probably too little. And this is at the middle of the pandemic when lumber prices were super crazy. So that was a little wrinkle that we had, but yeah, found a good deal on that. Realistically, it doesn't have to be crazy. We're a little over the top probably with our setup, but yeah. And I would always say, like, don't have less than 3 probably chickens. They huddle together. They're a flock animal. You know, in the winter they'll huddle together. In the summer they like their space to stay cool. When they're sleeping at night on the roost. Yeah, it doesn't have to be crazy. You can get into it for a few $100s and see how it goes from there.
And Al, you said
it's not bad, Dean.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Al, you said you have a couple of dogs, correct?
3 dogs, yes.
So how do they get along with the chickens?
Well, they're old, which really helps.
Right.
They don't have a lot of ambition. Our oldest one, though, he'll every once in a while one will go by him and startle him. I think he can't see or hear very well, so I think he gets startled and he'll kind of give it a half chase attempt. But our lab was bird crazy. She's kind of retired from hunting, but she would do anything for a pheasant, and chickens look a lot like pheasants, and she'll be rolling around in the grass and they'll walk all around her and she doesn't pay attention. I think if you socialize your dogs with the chickens as they're growing and show them, I mean, anything could happen. A dog could always say, okay, it's time for a snack or something, but we're confident. We've had the dogs and chickens out there on their own together before.
Okay.
Maybe we're lucky,
So
but
oh, go ahead, Al.
no, you go for it, Bridgette.
Well, okay, so out of the dozen chickens, how many eggs are you getting on a weekly basis?
Right now, it's kind of ugly. They're freeloaders with shorter days, colder temperatures, and they're doing their first molt, the original 8. So they lose a lot of their feathers kind of in shifts. They don't run around naked. You know, they have various stages of losing their feathers, and they're growing back. That takes a lot of protein. The days are short, as we all know and hate, and chickens especially. They need more hours of daylight to cue their body's production of eggs. So they're naturally going to produce less in winter. And we could force them to lay with more lighting than we give them. We don't really. So right now it's 2 to 3 eggs a day. In the summer, it's about an egg per bird per day.
Okay.
And the little ones that we got in May, the little ones that we got in May didn't start laying until it got cold. So I don't know. They don't. We'll see. Next, we should be getting about a dozen a day in the spring when the days get longer again.
So which is harder to raise, chickens or kids?
Kids by a mile. But speaking of dogs, no, stop it. My lab is slurping up her water. It's really nice for a radio interview. The joys of home office. Good. I mentioned a couple times how great kids and chickens together are, and the responsibility and life lessons and opportunities to teach new things that I didn't get to learn growing up. Not a knock on my parents or anything, just they certainly weren't going to have chickens. I think it's a generational thing. Like, they probably heard their parents having to take care of chickens and how terrible it was and stinky they were. Our coop doesn't stink. Our run doesn't stink. It's like composting all the time. You know, we keep it clean. The big thing for kids is it's an opportunity that not a lot of kids get. And I don't know, it's a novelty that a lot of the neighbor kids and our friend, everybody who comes over wants to go see the chickens. Even if it's cold, they want to go check them out. Another kid and chicken synergy that I really like, chickens love leftovers. They eat so much stuff that my kids just don't eat. You know, it happens. They get in a mood and they don't want to eat that. Chickens are happy to clean up the scraps. So kind of offsets the food bill on those food orders.
Is there anything they can't eat?
Avocado pits, for some reason. I don't know why they would ever be able to eat one, peck at them. I know those are poisonous, but like, I think the skins are bad. Chocolate is bad. We don't do like a lot of like treat stuff, but like anything that's like real food, or macaroni and cheese. For a while, my kids wouldn't eat chicken nuggets because they couldn't stand the thought of eating chickens when we got chickens. So I said, come on, we're going outside. I took a chicken nugget and I threw it out into the run with them, and they fought over this nugget. It was gone in like 2 seconds. After that, chicken nuggets are no longer a problem at our house. They're game.
Oh, well, this has been awesome, Alec. And Dean, I just looked up while we were kind of in the middle of there. You can have chickens in your backyard in Fargo. You can have up to 4 of them.
Sweet.
A couple of the rules that go along with it, but if you live in Fargo, you can have 4 chickens. So there you go.
Good deal.
Alec, you had mentioned that you... Yeah, we'll get that going, and we'll see if we can get those chickens just sent over to Dean's house. Alec, I want to thank you very much for joining us here on Weather and Ag in Focus. You had mentioned earlier that you also work for Ag Week. If anyone out there wants to follow you or get in touch with you in matters of that, or even with the chickens, how could they do so?
Email is super easy, alec@agweek.com. My social handles, Al_Windmill on Twitter and Instagram. Probably the best ways to reach me. Got a unique name. There's not a lot of us out there. So if you search me, you should be able to figure out a way to get a hold of me. And I'd love to talk about chickens or ag news or anything with any of your wonderful listeners.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. We hope you have a great rest of your day. And when Weather and Ag in Focus returns, we still got another look at national weather, local weather, and as well a couple of ag headlines. So make sure you stay right there. Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be right back.
The crew at Welton's Tire Service is thankful for you, your friendship, and business and support for all these years, and extend their warmest wishes for a blessed and happy Thanksgiving from everyone at Welton's Tire Service in Lisbon, North Dakota.
Find trustworthy car repair.
Okay, here's what I found.
Hi, I'm Matthew, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. We're confident that we can handle whatever your vehicle needs. From hybrid cars to full-size trucks, no job is too big or too small for our ASE certified technicians. We focus on quality, integrity, and giving back to the community at each of our 3 Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo locations. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Shields is grateful for our customers, communities, and fellow associates. We give thanks for all the little things in our lives, the things we can often overlook. Thanksgiving reminds us to take the time to open our hearts, to pause, to reflect, and to pray. With grateful hearts, we praise God for family and friends, for health and freedom, and for the rich blessings we enjoy every day as Americans. Amen. Have a blessed Thanksgiving from all of us at Shields.
North Dakota is a special place.
Oil and gas supports more than 60,000 jobs in the state of North Dakota.
And the industry is vital to our economy, adding nearly $4 billion in state and local tax revenues.
Why would we buy oil from dictators when we have it right here? We produce it the cleanest, the greenest of anywhere in the world.
Keep creating great jobs, and right here in North Dakota.
We support North Dakota oil and gas.
Paid for by American Experiment, North Dakota. AmericanExperimentND.org.
The crew at Welton's Tire Service is thankful for you, your friendship, and business and support for all these years, and extend their warmest wishes for a blessed and happy Thanksgiving from everyone at Welton's Tire Service in Lisbon, North Dakota.
Soybean complex firm, rest of the grains lower. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risville with this closing market. Grain started the day weak this morning. However, soybeans around the 10:30, 11 o'clock hour turned up and into the positive side and held that strength the remainder of the afternoon. The beans are mostly supported with a good prices in soy meal. Soy oil did have a lower day up until the last couple hours of trading, and that did turn into positivity. Wheat traded mixed most of the day, hemmed and hot on either side of unchanged, however, was pretty weak. While the livestock complex had a good day overall, except for front month lean hogs. However, with the corn market lower, the feeders led the way. The risk of a rail strike remains a possibility and may have even gained a little steam in the last couple of days. One of the 2 largest rail unions rejected the brokered agreement, raising the possibility. All 12 unions must agree to the contract, or all 12 will treat it as if there is no agreement. A strike is possible after December 8th if no agreement is reached. At least a third of the unions have rejected the brokered agreement, although that may simply be positioning for negotiating a better agreement, knowing that there is strong political support for avoiding a strike ahead of Christmas. Now, that doesn't mean that we will have a strike, but it does raise the risks. Let's get a look at the closing commodity numbers. December corn down 8 1/4 at 6.59 1/2. Beans January up 8 1/2 at 14.36 3/4. Bean meal December up $1 a ton at 4.1140. Bean oil December up 26 points at 73 even. Wheat Chicago December down 4 at 7.99 1/4. Kansas City December unchanged at 9.34 1/4. And the Minneapolis December wheat that is down 3 1/4 at 9.48 1/4. Live kale December up 47 at 153.55. Feeders January up 185 at 182.65. And the December lean hogs, they are down 42 at 83.80. And crude oil is trading down about 60 cents at just over $79 a barrel. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
Hello and welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette, Readel Ag Director, along with meteorologist Justin Storm and Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. And it has been a great day here visiting with Al Windmill from Horace, North Dakota, talking about raising chickens in the backyard. And there's just so many more questions we probably could have asked and will need to ask in the future of Al. Speaking of questions, many of you have them, especially about the upcoming weather. If you'd like to join us next Tuesday, that is November 29th, we will be at the Fargo Dome during the North Dakota Ag Association Northern Ag Expo. We're going to talk about the LRC and how that fits into agriculture in the region. And Dean, what's that LRC say for right now?
Well,
the weather the next few days.
It's suggesting that we don't have the cycle set just quite yet. So if you're keeping track of how many days that is, you can kind of follow along. And we are looking at this is kind of the quiet. So we went through the cold and stormy part, one of them, of the LRC cycle. That lasted 10 days. 10 days of below normal temperatures and on and off snow. Didn't receive a lot of snow, but again, that will cycle back a few more times this winter as well. Again, we didn't pick up a lot of snow, 5 inches, so not a big deal. We still haven't had that big storm system to roll through here on the LRC cycle. Will we see it? Maybe next week? We'll see. We'll see. We're seeing signs of a pretty decent storm next week. May go south of us, so that's still a ways off. But we also have our LRC special coming up December 7th. Mark that on your calendar. We'll do it on the Jay Thomas Show starting at 2 o'clock here on WDAY. So we'll be talking to Gary about the LRC cycle, what it means for the upcoming winter, what it means for the upcoming spring for our ag community as well. Remember last year, the LRC forecasted a very wet spring, and sure enough, it was. We had late planting, and the LRC forecasted Hurricane Ian this year all the way back in March. I mean, this is just a dynamic tool to use to be able to forecast long-term weather. So make sure you mark your calendars December 7th. That's 2 weeks, I believe, from this Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm doing my math right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 2 weeks from this coming Wednesday, we'll have our winter weather outlook with Gary Lezak and obviously with you two wonderful individuals as well. And we invite
I think that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me, Dean.
Well, it's been a while. Yeah, you know. But so mark your calendars for that. And we took a lot of phone calls and questions last year, and I'm sure it'll be the same this year too.
Well, I think so too. And the LRC does one thing for the two of you as meteorologists that it doesn't do for any other meteorologist. Makes you the most hated men in town for being right, not wrong.
We'd like to think that. And you know what we're going to do, Bridgette, Justin? We're going to we have an in-house snowfall total bet. So what we'll do is, and we'll post this on our social media, and post and not yet, but we'll get this together this week. We'll do a snowfall contest for this upcoming season, and whoever is the closest, we'll put some prize package together for our Facebook listeners, and just log on to Weather and Ag in Focus, and once you see our contest up there, we'll put something together with a rain gauge, hat, and we'll try and get some other things together for whoever can come the closest to our seasonal snowfall total this year. We have an in-house.
Well, remember to our listeners. Our listeners know our favorite things are beef and beer. So if any listeners out there want to put prize items into that gift pack for somebody,
there you go.
You should call us here at the station at 293-9000. We'll take beef and beer, but we'll also help you give it away. How's that?
Right. And you can also direct message us on Facebook, Weather and Ag in Focus. That would also work great if you want to help contribute to that. And I think it would be, I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to do this, but it would be really fun if we could somehow put like a weather station into that prize pool as well, or maybe have like a couple of them, like have like a first and second place prize package or something. So if you have ideas, reach out to us on Facebook. That would be a very fun idea.
Is that budget big enough for a weather station? Because we got to fund Dean's chicken operation right now. I don't know if we can do all of this.
Well,
Just
we don't
so
need
you know,
to get one
the
of
more
the
chickens
over
we buy,
the top.
the more eggs we get.
That's right. You can actually get some pretty nice weather stations for not too much money. I think you can get a fairly nice one for $130, so that's not too bad, but it's more than we get paid, so we might have to get a little help from the boss man on getting that one together. But I think that'll about wrap it up for us here on Weather and Ag in Focus. We thank you for listening today, and make sure you join us back tomorrow. Bridgette, I should know. I didn't look. Do we have a guest on tomorrow with us?
We do. We're going to talk with Brady from Irie Insurance tomorrow, so look forward to that.
Awesome. So we'll see you tomorrow, 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM, Fargo Moorhead.